Welcome everyone to another exciting episode of the Agency Insider. I'm your host Navneet Kaushal, and today we have a very special guest with us. He is a true success story in SEO world, a seasoned digital marketing expert with over 2 decades of experience and a regular speaker in international conferences. Please join me in welcoming Craig Campbell. Craig, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you, Navneet. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Craig, we have known each other for years, and I have always been impressed by your expertise in both SEO and affiliate marketing, plus not to forget your no bullshit talks. So, can you share with our listeners what pivotal moments or challenges have shaped your last 20 years of career?
Yeah, so a brief background of where I started. I am the same as probably yourself and everyone else that listens. I started out blagging or pretending I knew what I was doing, if you like. I was a hobbyist SEO or web designer, and I wasn't very good at web design, so SEO was the next best thing. And I started to try and learn SEO, and started out taking on a few local clients and trying to hone my skills. And before I knew it, I had a bunch of clients, and I had to hire a web developer to look after the websites. I had to hire a content writer. I had to hire a sales guy. And before you knew it, I had this digital marketing agency, and that grown. And I went with that for probably about, 10 years, something like that. I ran with a digital marketing agency. Now, again, many people will resonate with this part of the story. I found it very stressful because I had built myself into the business. I wasn't working on the business. So I had people round about me, but I was the SEO guy in the middle of it all. And obviously, as a young guy who had no business training, I'd never experienced anything. I'd never been in control of anything. I had done it all wrong. So I wasn't delegating enough. I didn't trust people enough. I didn't have the right team surrounding me. And for me, that was the biggest problem, because I was struggling to grow past a certain stage. Clients would fall off because the work wasn't being done properly. And that's down to my processes or the right staff or the right training not being in place. So I found the agency model very, very stressful. And for me, that brought up, is there an easier way to make money online? And that is where the kind of affiliate marketing, doing YouTube, building a personal brand, all of that kind of stuff came into play. And that is why I went from agency down the avenue of what I'd done, because there was periods within that agency, and having done client work for 10 plus years, I felt that I had done my apprenticeship in terms of SEO. I was able to then fully understand how to rank a website. So I wanted to change it. Why would I work for clients when I could work on my own projects? I could, determine what income I was able to receive. And essentially, that's why we're all here. It's all money driven. And is there easier ways to make money than just doing client work? Of course there is. You've got so many other opportunities to make money online. And I think for me, that's where my brain was like, can I do this? Can I do that? And, can I try this? Can I try that? And it's took me to where I am today. So I've done the agency model. It wasn't for me personally, and I learned a lot from it. But when also to be fair to myself, when I was doing the agency thing, VAs weren't as big a thing as they are now. And, delegation wasn't as big as it is now, and processes, SOPs, all of the stuff that you've probably got within, your corporation. I didn't have any of that, and I didn't know about any of it. And, I think now everyone talks about it. You know, people talk more in depth about problems or situations or just even how they function as a business. And I didn't have that when I was doing the agency, and that was the biggest problem I had. I didn't have any local friends. I didn't network with anyone, and my knowledge was obviously there in terms of being a businessman. And I think overall, I've had to not just be this SEO guy. I love SEO and everything else, but I had to then become a businessman. I had to not basically utilize my skills. I had to get people surrounding me to do, whether that be video editing, whether it be, you know, link building, whatever. I think, you know, I had to narrow all of that kind of down and get people to do it whilst I'm not there. That's the only way I would get scalability and growth. So you have to think more like a businessman rather than an SEO. That's where I really struggled and had a lot of problems with growth. So that's the long story in a condensed version.
So up till which year have you done your agency business? I mean,
Agency,
when you moved to affiliate marketing.
So I moved to affiliate marketing round about 2015. Is when I started to build my own personal brand and do affiliate marketing. And the inspiration for that was a guy called Matthew Woodward. You know, I was a big follower of Matthew, and I loved what he was doing, and I thought, I want to be that guy. I like how he's operating and making money, and I want some of that. So yeah, I had the agency from probably about 2005 to 2015. But I was a freelancer prior to the agency. You know, I got in doing SEO from 2001. But yeah, you know, I had the agency for 10 years, and I've been doing this model for 9 years now. So it's 2014, and I'm you know, still loving affiliate. And I mean, I'm not enjoying all the Google updates and all the other crap that comes with it.
Nobody is.
But yeah, so I think, you know, it's been a long journey, but I am much more personally satisfied with the model that I have now than I did running an agency.
Okay. So I mean, of course, I'm not gonna ask you very cliche questions like what is new in SEO, but I'm gonna ask you. You've been in this industry for over 2 decades. I mean, honestly, I know only myself who is as old in the industry as you.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, how has your personal definition of SEO evolved over the years?
So, you know, this is a question that I find really tough to answer, and I'll explain why. I don't feel that it's strange when I say it. SEO's not changed that much, but it has. You know, we know always content links are really important. Now, it has evolved. The type of link building that we done 20 years ago is not the type of link building that we do now. You know, the level of competition we have, the sophistication of Google understanding. You know, we used to do social bookmarking and all the other crap back in the day, and that worked. You know, that was link building. You don't do social bookmarking now. You have to get good quality, relevant links from links that have traffic, and you know, so the goalposts have moved slightly. So the concept of SEO, of course, has changed slightly as well. You know, you've got, again, you know yourself, we used to be able to throw up a page of content and, you know, stuff it with keywords and boom, the thing ranked. Whereas now you've got to go through Surfer or something else to, you know, get the entities in. So Google has become a lot cleverer in terms of what it's looking for and how it identifies stuff. So we have had to move the goalposts or the structure or the strategy, but links and content are still two of the biggest things out there. Now, on top of that, we also know that traffic, engagement signals, trust signals, you've got EAT and all that stuff. These are all add-ons that Google have added to their algorithm along the way. Right. But as far as I'm concerned, things like EAT, EEAT, as they now call it, for example, it's links. It's getting links on authority, trustworthy websites. You know, if I want to be trusted by Google, I need to be on, I don't know, Amazon. I need to be on the news and all this kind of stuff. So it's still a form of link building. So for me, it's very, very hard for anyone to argue that SEO is that much different, although the quality or the barrier to entry, and you understand this more than anyone, Navneet, when we done SEO back in the day, you had a keyword-rich domain name. You could slap up a one-page website and almost guarantee yourself page one, position one. We can't do that anymore. You know, Google doesn't weigh an exact match domain name the same. It doesn't weigh that content the same way it used to. It's looking for other things. So whilst it's changed, it's not, and that is a very difficult thing to try and put across to people, because it's all these little nuances that are in there now that are the things that people miss out on. You know, it's not that SEO is fundamentally that much different, but my process is a lot deeper. It's a lot more rigid.
Right.
Even, you know, that one-page website that I used to throw up, it can't be a one. You've got to build that topical cluster. You've got to put out more content. You've got to do internal links. You've got to get links to it. You know, all of this stuff. So it's a bigger job than it was. And that obviously comes down to the level of competition that we now have as well, because everyone is an SEO now. Every corner you turn, someone's claiming to know SEO, but do they know really what they're doing is the big question. And so, yeah, I think it's changed a lot, but a lot hasn't changed, if that makes any sense. I don't know how else to describe that.
It makes sense. I mean, the only way I see it, it has become more challenging, yes, but interesting as well. It's not the entry barriers are high now. Nobody just can enter and just overnight take over your site, of course, except Google, but that's how it is.
Yeah,
I agree on that.
So, but also we've got AI now as well. So a lot of the newbies are coming in and they're just slapping AI content on their website and then come and going, why does this website not rank? And you're like, do you not understand?
Yeah. So my next question is something related to that only. I mean, there are often misconceptions about SEO among businesses. What are some of the common ones you have encountered, and how do you address them? Of course, I know you are not in a client business, but you get to speak at a lot of places. So what are some of these common ones you encounter?
Common misconceptions. I mean, I think, you know, having dealt with clients, and I do a lot of consultancy and stuff, so I still deal with a lot of things. People's perception of the cost or what goes on with SEO is the single most important misconception that's out there. You know, I think a lot of people think it's a case of slapping up a page of content and all of a sudden everything works. You know, and again, I have always been the type of guy who's quite transparent. I'm not going to tell anyone everything that I'm doing. Why would I? But, you know, I've been fairly transparent in terms of what's required and the money that's required in order to make that happen. So we do have costs for writing. I'm not going to sit and write anyone's content. We do have costs for links. You know, whether you do digital PR, whether you do what you do, there's still a fucking cost no matter what way you look at it. Potentially, you know, doing click-through rate manipulation or anything else, there's a cost for sending traffic to a website, whether that be through Facebook ads or whatever it may be. You've still got the cost of the tools to audit a website and do the technical changes. And of course, we've got other costs, you know, for Suffer or however you determine your on-page SEO is good. So I think the cost against what some people are charging is a big problem that I see all of the time. You know, I've got people who come to me for advice and they'll be like, yeah, Craig, I'm charging this guy $200 a month to rank for, I don't know, plumber in New York. And you're like how? Like, what the fuck can you, what can you do for £200? And you're like, you couldn't really buy that many articles. You can barely buy a link for that. And, you know, can you afford to use Surfer or you know, the kind of things that we need? So I think, you know, a big thing is out there for most SEOs, we have costs for everything, including just the analysis tools, you know, your SEMrush whatever it may be. And I think customers don't realize that. They think they're paying you X amount of money and that guarantees them your full-time commitment. And you're like, your retainer barely pays the software costs, let alone anything else. So, I think many SEOs are underselling it to clients or miseducating clients that are, we all moan Ahrefs is expensive, this is expensive. So there's a lot of associated costs with SEO, and it's not down to just your time.
Right.
Everything. And I think clients don't understand that. And even newbies to the industry don't care about that. They're just like, yeah, I can do your SEO for $200 a month. And the minute I hear that, I'm just like, you can't. You just physically, you can say anything you like. You could be the best technical guy in the world or whatever, but you can't deliver for £200 unless you're working for free, and you're prepared to pay for all the software. That who's going to do that? So, I think that's a big problem that I see a lot of the time. It's just misinformation, undercharging, misleading people into giving you money and not delivering the goods. And we all know how much a citation costs, how much a link costs. We know how much all of these things cost. So that's where we look at it and go, you can't be doing that shit. So I think that's a big thing, and it really still happens to this day. I do a lot of consultancy as well, where someone's like, yeah, my SEO guy, he's claiming to do this, and why is it not ranking? You're like, how much are you paying them? And they're like, yeah, $200, $300. And you're like, what do you expect for that realistically? So I think there's a big disconnect there. And I think a lot of business owners out there really need to understand, like, if you want to turn over $1 million a year, just a random figure, realistically, you should be spending 10% of that million on your marketing if you want to achieve that, if not more. So what are you actually spending on your marketing? I'm not talking about just SEO. I'm talking about overall marketing. You should be spending 100 grand on that, whether 20 of that's on Facebook, 20 of it's in SEO, 20 of it's in something else, pay-per-click or whatever. That is realistically how you get to go to $1 million. You can't go and spend 100 grand and make 5 million. The chances of that, unless you're in a very niche market, are slim. So you have to cough up more for your marketing. And again, I think from a customer perspective, a lot of people think what we do in terms of marketing is peanuts, and you're just not going to get the success. It's just unrealistic. If I felt I could pay a guy £200 a month and put him on one of my projects and it's going to return me 10 grand a month or whatever, I'll give them the £200 all day long. Send them to me, and I'll hire them for my own projects, if that was how it works. So that's a big problem.
I think the problem main came around because people thought organic traffic is free. So anything which is free should be cheap, and that's where the thought process comes in. I mean, honestly, I've seen people paying more in Google Ads, spending more, 10 times in Google Ads, but not in an SEO because of this mindset. So that is right.
I think you've got to diversify your traffic sources. That's the bottom line. I'm not saying it's safe to throw everything into SEO either. I think if you've got 100 grand, split that so that you're getting traffic from other places, and then the question is, how do I get more of this? How do I get more of that? How do I get more of that? And your budget increases. So that's how it should be.
So let's say if you have 100 grand to spend now, how would you distribute them, keeping in mind today's today's scenario, and you have a website which is brand new, and let's say even if it's in an affiliate space, how would you spend those 100 grand in a year? How would you allocate the budgets?
This is not a one answer fits all. So I think it really comes down to the competition and what they're doing. Where are their traffic coming from? Is it on social paid ads? Is it from other affiliates? Certainly one of the businesses that I've got, I understood that organic traffic was important. I leveraged other affiliates to get that traffic. So I gave up a percentage of money to get them doing my SEO, which is a smart move. So, there are different ways, but if my competition, I'm looking at it, I've got an affiliate program and they've got 100 affiliates signed up, which is all driving traffic. And if they're doing a bit of SEO and they're doing a bit of Google AdWords and they're doing a bit of social media stuff, I would split my budget up based on what the competition are doing and the areas that I feel are weakest. Now, it's always going to include an element of SEO. Of course it is. I'm an SEO guy and I love SEO and love organic traffic. It converts better, blah, 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 blah. So the where I would spend it would really depend. Now, would I be against going heavy on paid ads at the start to get the engagement, the traffic, the trust, all of that working? Absolutely not. I think the long-term strategy would be to reduce the paid ads and get more organic. But I think it depends. You've got to be realistic. So if I'm up against a really competitive market, am I going to spend that whole 100 grand on trying to do SEO, and I might not get past the 3, 4, 5, 6 month stage of being viable as a business? So again, you need cash flow to make that business grow. So where is the quickest cash flow? Forget about my SEO enthusiasm for a minute. How can I spend X and get Y back? It's all about return on investment. So can I invest first in Facebook? Can I spend $1,000 on that and get $5,000 back? That is what I want to try. So I would set up my campaigns very tight and very broad across a number of different traffic sources. And then what actually works well for that niche, I would double down. So if I can get a £1,000 spend and I get £5,000 back on Facebook, I'm going to then say I want to spend 2, 3, 4. How hard can I push Facebook? And then move on to the next one. So, but that's going to be very, very different for every niche. But again, just to re-answer that for just SEO, if you said, Craig, it's only SEO you're doing, I think, at the start of any new project, people will say build links first, build content first, whatever. I think it would pretty much be a 50-50 split on a new website between content and links. People may argue that it could be 70-30 in favor of content. But for me, I want to be building links and authority and building up the DR of that particular website from the get-go. Right. Even if it's got 5 blog posts on it, I want to be building that up, because we all know the domain authority is what is going to make sure that your pages land higher. So I think you've got to have that mix of content and links from the get-go. So hopefully that gives you a double answer to what
Right. My question basically was coming from, are you doing something in terms of budget allocation or spend or efforts? Are you doing something differently now than you were doing, let's say, 12 months back? Keeping in mind the Google updates, or is it same?
Nah, it's pretty much the same. I think obviously Google have had updates and people have been slammed hard. Now, the people that I've seen that have been hit hard either lack Google trust signals, such as EAT, or they went in hard on AI content. I am probably one of the only SEO guys who's never done a video fully condoning AI content, because I've always been skeptical of, I love it and I'd love to do things faster, but I was always skeptical that if Google catches up and they're going to, the helpful content update, what is going to happen to my website? And I've got websites where I've tested it and I've seen the upwards trajectory, and then I've seen it falling off a cliff in September 2023. So, I've tested it, and would I try and test on my own website? No. So again, any of my real businesses, I would not test silly AI content on it until I am 100% sure I know how to game that system. So my strategy in terms of what I do hasn't changed. Now, it costs me more, it takes me more to do it, but I don't have to worry sleeping at night if I'm going to wake up and all my traffic's gone. And for me, that's really important. So, and I'm also quite well known for black hat strategies and talking about that stuff. I don't actually deploy that type of stuff on my own money websites because it could cost me an absolute fortune. I love to know how it works. I love to play with test websites, and I love to see how far I can push the boundaries. But again, would I employ that on a website which is feeding my family? Absolutely no way. So, that's how I see it.
Okay. That's an interesting take. So the impact of AI on SEO is a hot topic. Some sees it as a threat, other as an opportunity. And of course, you spoke about that you have not taken, but because some of the people just think AI is ChatGPT is more about content, but it is not. So what's your take? And how can SEO leverage AI tools effectively without losing the human touch?
So I think, as an SEO, we know that AI can help us with the biggest pain point that we have, which is content. So it would be perfect, to just put into ChatGPT whatever prompts you put in, and it churns out amazing content. Now, the important part of that process is the human editing part, what goes on after that. So you can use ChatGPT to give you the skeleton of an article. You can then run it through the likes of Surfer to add in, the entities and the semantically related keywords. You can then run it through Grammarly to make sure that it reads well. And then a human editor can go in and tweak it so that it's actually got the call to action that gives the accurate information that you want it to give. And I think a combination of that process can work well for you, but too many people are lazy and they want the quick fix. Now, as an SEO, we all know how, I've said at the very start, content and links are two of the single most important things out there. People skip the process when it comes to content, and that is where they go wrong, and get hit with helpful content updates. Now, does AI help with other things in business? Can you automate a lot of stuff? Can you build scripts to do, all these crappy tasks? Of course you can. I think AI is amazing for everything. I can do my tweets based on AI. I can just get it to give me ideas. So there's so many other things as a business owner that I can utilize AI for, but I can't use it for content. End of story. It has to go through the human editing process, and it has to go through, Surfer, Grammarly, and all that stuff as well. So that's kind of what the process looks like. And I just feel that too many people are trying to bypass those steps for speed reasons. And again, realistically, if I thought I could go to a tool and, put out 100 blog posts a day, and that was actually going to get crawled and indexed and stay on Google, I would do it. Absolutely. I'd love to fucking do it, but it doesn't work. And I've got case studies to show that it doesn't fucking work. And, until someone can convince me otherwise, and I've physically done this myself, I know it doesn't work. I can categorically tell you it's not, I think it doesn't, it just doesn't. So that is my take on how it works from an SEO perspective. I just think you still have to do the human editing, but AI for everything else. Can you use it for social media? Can you use it for this, that, and the next thing? Can I use it to transcribe my YouTube video into a blog post and then go through that human editing process? Yes, there's so many things that I can utilize AI for, and absolutely love it for. So yeah, it's a great thing. So I don't want to be seen as bashing AI and, stuff like that. I just think purely from a content perspective and crawling and understanding crawling and indexing and how important that is.
Right.
It just doesn't work just yet.
Okay. So, you spoke about, of course, two important parts. From day one has been link, I would say, and content later on for SEO. Now, given the current emphasis on high quality content, how do you approach content creation and optimization to ensure it aligns with both user intent and SEO best practices?
So I think, you've got to do more research. You have to understand. So even SEMrush will give you an idea of the intent of a particular keyword. But again, you can look at the competition, who's winning, what is there, what are these guys doing? But I think when it comes to content, people try and overthink all of this too much. sometimes I feel that you've got to throw stuff out there and see if it works. Now, every website out there, 80% of your traffic comes from 20% of your pages, which effectively means that 80% of your content is shit and can be re-optimized or tweaked or merged together. So I think as part of the process and understanding whether Google like it or not, or whether Google perceive your content to be valuable for the intent of the user, and what I think's valuable for the intent of the user, are two very different things. And that's where you need to throw stuff there, see how it works, and then adapt. So I would throw content out there and I'll look at it, and Google might just not like it for one reason or another. Now, I can go in and change some titles, even changing the URL, and Google will like it. But sometimes Google just doesn't like it, and maybe I have to merge two articles together to make one big article based on something. So I think too many people are focused on how much content can they put out, whereas what we would do is we'd put out content where we thought that, based on keyword research and everything else, we would throw that out. Now, the stuff that doesn't stick or doesn't perform well, what can we do to change it? Do we need to go in and change the whole content? Do we need to go in and add more subheaders? Do we need to go in and change the intent and the sales narrative potentially on that page? And everyone always has their content writer going, yeah, they add 50 articles a month. I don't care, as long as the content grows and evolves. And you even sometimes have to prune that content off of your website. So like I said, that 80-20 rule, 80% of your content doesn't do fuck all for you. Nothing. Could you delete it all and, read it, get more power to the content that works? 100%. And for me, again, that is something that a lot of people don't do. So how I do it is obviously I'm going to do the research and I'm going to do what I believe to be the best, and obviously what is working for the competitors. But it's how Google perceives that, and that's where the fucking grey area comes in, because we don't know how Google perceives stuff until we actually try it. Right. So that's where you've just got to not overthink it, throw some shit at Google. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Adapt and go again, and adapt and go again. And through experience and through doing this, you'll get a much better understanding of what actually works for your niche. So, if I was entering a niche and I didn't fully understand that niche or the kind of terminology and everything else, that is kind of the approach I would take.
Okay. So let's talk about, you advise a lot of SEO professionals look up to you, and of course, wherever you go, you majorly go into SEO conferences, put it that way. And of course, so if for those new to the SEO field, what are the three most important skill or areas you recommend they should focus on developing?
I think most people focus on on-page SEO. I think a lot of people are really poor at link building. I think more people should understand link building. Too many people have this thing where they say link building's bad, and Google's going to reward you with natural links for your amazing content. That's a myth in itself. So I think as an SEO, if you work in a competitive market and you're starting out, now it's different because a lot of new SEOs hide behind a big company who's got a DR85. It's very easy to do on page and get good results with that. Start from a new website and try and compete with a DR85. You've no option but to buy links or get links or whatever you do. So you've got to understand how link building works. And I don't care who says what. I know how link building works. I know digital PR because I offer it as a service. I do guest posting. I do outreach. We do niche edits. We do every type of link that's on the market. And for anyone to say we don't buy links is a liar. The there's money changing hands, whether you want to call that buying or whether you call it, you know, an admin fee, whatever. You have to understand how this game works, where you buy that shit, and how you're going to power up your website by hook or by crook. So I think that's an area that a lot of people should focus on, because most people I see are really poor at it. I think other areas of focus is understanding the joining the dots from a Google perspective when it comes to trust signals, you know, EAT, trying to trigger your knowledge panel. You know, again, I look at people's, they don't have an About Me page. They then don't join the dots. And when I say join the dots, I mean, you've got an About Me page, and my About Me page will link to my Amazon, my Crunchbase, my LinkedIn, all my social media profiles. You've got to show Google that this Craig Campbell that's on this About Me page is the same one. It's got Twitter, Facebook, whatever. You have to basically feed Google your shit, essentially. They're not going to go away and find it for you. Yeah, so that is an area that's an absolute fucking disaster. When I look at someone's website, I'm like, no wonder you don't rank. You know, what are you doing, man? So I think, you know, those brand signals and stuff like that are areas of expertise. And I think another thing that I would try and encourage people to do is don't, you know, a lot of people are scared to put their face to a business. You know, build you into the business, your brand, you know, make sure people know who you are. I think, you know, that for me, a lot of people out there don't understand the personal brand. They don't understand the benefits of it. And I fully understand that not everyone wants their face to be seen. But I think realistically, if you want to sell more, if you want to get people to buy into you, now this SEO space, I could deal with you. I could deal with someone in America. It's worldwide, but you're never likely to do business with me unless you've met me or see me or hear me. And I think so many people don't understand that. Like, we've obviously met at conferences over the years. I think the first one was the SEMrush one in India. Would that be right? Yeah. So Bangalore, I had to go to Bangalore, and you know, I obviously I was speaking there for on behalf of SEMrush, but obviously I got to meet people like yourself, and I met a few other guys who I think I met in well, there's a lot of guys. I think there was about 2,000 people there. But you network. We obviously had a conversation in that little VIP room. Then I've obviously seen you at other events, and you are potentially more likely to do business with me or trust me or even be open to doing consultancy with me based on what you've seen and heard. Now, if you're sat behind a website and no one can see your shit, no one knows whether you're good or bad. And that is from a customer perspective as well. If they go and do research on you, can they see you? Can they hear your vocabulary? Can you tell that this person knows what they're doing? And I think that is another area where people get lost and get scared. They don't want to do it. Obviously, someone like yourself, you're trying to do the podcast thing. You're trying to put yourself out there. And I'm pretty sure, you know, if we were off air and I said to you, Navneet, are you actually comfortable doing a podcast? You're going to say, I would rather not if push came to shove, but I need to market my own brand. You know, I don't particularly want to do it. I don't love it. I can do it. And if that's what I have to do to build trust and authority and everything else, then that's what I have to do. And I think that's the kind of mindset that people have to have. You have to step out your comfort zone to do things and try shit. And you might say, you know what, after 20 podcasts, I'm fed up with that shit. But at least people have seen your face, you've spoken to people, you can refer people to it. And you might never become the best podcaster, but people will see at least you tried, and there's a human being there that clearly knows what he's talking about. And that is what SEO should learn to do more, is try and do more of that. Because the most common question I get asked, Navneet, is how do I get sales? How do I get leads? How do I make money? And you're like, how are you getting leads just now? And people are hiding behind websites and not even get a photograph of themselves on it. So I think that also ties in with the whole authority thing. So that's a couple of things that I think I would encourage people to try and double down on and learn more about, or try it, or whatever.
Right. For the records, though I'm late to the party, but I love podcasts. I'm loving all this, what I'm doing, talking to you all, you guys. You know, the best part is I get to ask questions, whatever I want. So I love that.
Yeah.
The conversations are good, and I try to make them. So I am loving researching, and I thought it's gonna be tough, but because I've been doing this, otherwise talk also. But yes, for a newbie, it might be scary, but for me, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying talking to you. I've always enjoyed before also, but I love the podcast. But yes, you are right. People have to put themselves in front, so that as a face of the brand as well.
Yeah.
Because people at the end of the day, it says as human to human.
Yeah.
That's what
exactly.
Right. So now, how do you stay ahead of the curve? I mean, what resources or habits do you recommend to others? I mean, of course, you've been in this industry for so long.
So again, it revolves around other people and networking and having friends in the industry. So how do you stay ahead of the curve? I still travel to events. I still hear people talk about areas that I'm weak on. I pay for consultancy, for certain things. If I'm shit at something, let's say I was shit at AI, would I pay an AI guy to sit and show me what the fuck he's doing and how the hell he's doing it? And 100%, so if you've got areas of weakness, and this is up to you as a person, you've got areas of weakness, I've got areas of weakness. How do we overcome that? You either need to buy a course, you need to pay the guy to jump on a call and say, dude, I can't get my head around what the hell you're doing. Can you just show me how much does it cost? But on top of that, when you network, when you travel, you hear what other people are doing, and you steal a little bit from a guy here and go, fuck, that's a really good thing that he said there. I need to implement that, or that's a really good software there. I want to check that out and see how I can add it to what I do. And again, looking at, I've got my own mastermind where I've got 100 other SEOs and business owners and agency owners and affiliate guys. And we all go in there and we talk about different topics, 2 or 3 times a week. So I think, doing masterminds, actually testing shit out is also important. Again, if I'm just looking at my favorites bar on here, and I've got like Perplexity on there, I've got video AI, I've got all sorts on there that I'm just playing with. So I think testing stuff and always trying to be ahead of the curve is what we all do. And again, I've got friends, I've got WhatsApp chats where they'll jump in the chat and they'll be like, oh fuck, have you seen this? And I think surrounding yourself with the right type of SEOs is really important. And how do you make those friends? How do you get into those masterminds? Which one's the best one to go into? All of these are questions that I get asked all the time. I have traveled the world for the last 9 years, making these contacts, making these friends, and that has cost a considerable amount of money, but it's an investment in me, is the way that I see it. And I've learned, from all, there's people out there that have showed me things that they don't know that they've showed me things. It could be the smallest fucking thing that someone said, and I've been like, oh shit, I've got that problem as well. And then they tell you how they resolved it, and you're like, fuck, that's a lifesaver. So we can't know everything about everything. So that's where I think networking, traveling. I've got a group of local friends in Glasgow who are all SEOs. We see each other once, twice a week, and we talk about problems we've got. And have you seen this before? Have you seen that before? And again, you're helping each other overcome certain situations or whatever. And that's just it. I think it's there's no one place where I can say, go and buy this guy's course, and you're going to be super on point. I might buy a course and I might grab 1 or 2 nuggets from it, but is that worth the $300, $400, $500 or whatever I paid for it? Then I think you have to invest in yourself, and so many people don't do that. And again, I've got some very, very, very experienced SEOs who will jump on a call with me. They'll just pay for an hourly consultancy rate. And sometimes it's not even what I tell them. It's just they want a second opinion. They need to hear someone else say, yeah, I agree with you. That's the problem. Go away and fix it now. And is that worth a couple of $100 to someone? Of course it is. Sometimes you just need reassurance, because this can be a lonely game if you're isolated from other people. Like I could literally pick up the phone to most of the renowned SEOs in the world and ask them a question, no problem, or WhatsApp them. And obviously that has taken me a lot of time to learn. But again, you need to get out, you need to schmooze, and stuff like that. Like when we met, we've obviously connected in Facebook and stuff like that. You don't need to talk all day every day to these people, but at least we've connected. Do you remember me? Fucking hi, and whatever. You don't have to be all out there talking to everyone every day or anything like that. But again, you're like, for me, with you, for example, you came to the SEMrush event, you took time out, can I talk to you? And I'm like, yeah, I respect that guy. He's obviously looking to learn and better himself, or looking to get an idea from me, or whatever the conversation was. And again, I look at people and I go, I won't ignore that guy. I've connected with him. I see that he's came to the conference and he has actually approached me in a way that is perfectly reasonable. So why would I not try and advise or help? So again, I think most people maybe think that SEOs are not approachable. Most of the SEOs in the world will literally tell you anything you want to tell them. Even if you have to get them a couple of beers to get them drunk. So, yeah.
So now, so we're running a little short on time, so we might have to do a little fast. I don't want to have you stay more. So I'll just, with your experience in affiliate marketing, what strategies do you find most effective for scaling and sustaining affiliate sites right now?
So affiliate marketing, I think, if I'm being honest, sustaining affiliate sites is slightly difficult. And I'll explain the reasons why. I used to do a lot of Amazon affiliate, and it made me a lot of money. Now, Amazon reducing their commission all of the time, and the costs of content and links and everything going up, it came to a point where I was paying out what the website was pulling in. So for me, Amazon affiliate kind of died. I sold the websites and I moved on. Now, when it comes to affiliate marketing, do you need to go to the cost of all the content, website creation and everything else? No, you don't. You can promote stuff in YouTube, you can promote stuff in social media, you can build an audience that way. So, strategically, I've built up a bit of a following in the SEO space. Can I do affiliate marketing across multiple channels without doing the traditional blog post style of affiliate marketing? The answer is yes. And that is something that I do a lot more of. So I think, for me, would I rather create a training course for free to lead people in and offer value that way, with a view to potentially making money off the affiliate on the tools and the stuff that you need to buy, which you have to buy anyway? Is that a way to doing it, rather than building a website and going to the cost of links and stuff like that? So I think the barrier to entry from that perspective costs a lot more. So if I was advising anyone getting into it, you can't do Amazon because it's just not affordable. But there's other things out there like SaaS products that will pay you 30 or 40% commission. And I think for that, then yes, it certainly warrants a potential website. Could you go out and make a SaaS website and rank it? Of course you can. But again, you're up against other people like me who've got a blog, who've got YouTube, who've got LinkedIn, who've got Facebook. You're going to have to try and move all of that out the SERP as well. So, that is where I'm like, build a brand, build your socials, build everything. Affiliate marketing can come from that, and you're not then tied into a content heavy website, because in this day and age, with AI, with everything else, Amazon don't want affiliates out there because they're too big now. They don't want to pay you. That is the bottom line. So I think affiliate from a website only perspective, I would be like, oh, I don't know. I think there's easier ways and quicker ways to do it.
Yeah. We spoke a little bit about, of course, a lot about personal brand. So my question, still there are a couple of questions I'd like for my listeners. So how has public speaking influenced your career and personal brand? And what advice would you give to let's say, aspiring speaker in the digital marketing field?
I think overall, to answer the question, how has it affected my life and business? Massively impacted it. It's given me a much bigger platform. It's given me more customers. It's given me more exposure from a brand. Everything's positive from a public speaking perspective. There is a slight other side to it where you also get a lot of hate and a lot of trolls and a lot of bullshit. So just be mindful of that. But I think overall, 99% of it is all positive. I think, for me, I think there's a lot of SEO speakers coming out now trying to do the same thing. I would highly encourage anyone who's prepared to do it to do it. I think when you stand on a stage and deliver a nice talk and give value, I think you obviously get a good sense of satisfaction for yourself. But, when people look to you and go, I want to talk to him, I want his training course, I want his consultancy, I want his services, your earnings become unlimited. Not everyone wants to pay me to do their SEO. They may want me for guidance, consultation, mentorship. And I think it just explodes your product offering to people. So can I help anyone with anything digital related? I'll be able to help you one way or another, even if it's just taking an hour on the phone to show you how to do something. So I think, you open yourself up massively to those opportunities, and sometimes it can be hard to get the speaking opportunities because there's so many speakers now. But I think, there's always someone cancelling. There's always a way to smooth someone and get your way in the door. And I think, when I got the first one was really difficult to get. But I think once people seen me speaking and felt that I offered some value, the next one was easier and easier and easier. And now I don't need to pitch. People invite me to conferences. So it has that weird pivot where they're like, can you come here and speak? And you're in demand. And I think that's obviously a very nice situation to get yourself into. But again, I was like most other aspiring speakers. I was scared. I was going to have stage fright. I was sweating, all of these things, and that's all natural to happen. So you're been there, done. The more you do it, the more you become comfortable with it. And I think it's one of the best things, in terms of pushing myself outside my comfort zone. I think it's the best thing that could have happened, pushing myself to something I didn't really want to do, but I had to do it for making more money, essentially, and getting more awareness.
So how do you, you speak a lot of places, of course you travel a lot. So how do you balance your time between consulting, public speaking, and managing your personal projects?
So obviously I've got a team who do a lot of the work behind me. So that part is covered. In terms of time, a lot of people make this assumption that I speak everywhere, which kind of can look like that on social media. The reality is I spoke in Dubai in February, I spoke in Birmingham in May, I spoke in Milan in June, and I spoke in Amsterdam last week. So I've only done 4 speaking events this year. Now, obviously in social media, you'll see clips from different podcasts, you see clips from different speaking events, and then people just make the assumption that you're speaking all day, every day. Now, yes, I have spoken at like 20 events last year or whatever it was, and I have done that consistently for a number of years, and I am absolutely exhausted with it. So my goal now is to do, I think I'm scheduled to do 7 this year. 7, it's only 7 days of a year, in terms of speaking.
Bad, right?
So I'm only scheduled to do 7, and I only ever really want to do 5 or 7 a year going forward. I've done what I had to do initially to build my name out there, but I think for me it is important that I am home looking after my business and seeing my family and all of that kind of stuff. So trying to get that balance is something I didn't have while I was trying to build the brand. People would say I was away more than I was home, but that has to change, and the goal is to cut down the volume of events and try and focus on more quality, bigger events to just retain the brand awareness. And if I get to manage that, then I think I'm in a very comfortable place where I've got time to do everything, record videos, do YouTube, and do more of the stuff that I actually enjoy doing. Because traveling, and I'm sure you're the same, Navneet, sitting in an airport or staying in a hotel by yourself isn't always fun. It's nice to be in the sunshine or whatever. But even when I travel to India, here, this is the God's honest truth. I left the UK on a Tuesday, and it took me about 20 hours to get to India. I had to go from the UK to Dubai, then there was a changeover, then Dubai to Bangalore. I was on the ground in Bangalore for 17 hours. I wasn't even there for a full day, and then back home. Now, tell me what part of that's fun. It's not. It was lovely meeting the people, lovely speaking, but I had friends saying, come out for dinner with me, come and do this, come and do that. Can I meet you the day before? I wasn't there to do these things. And even friends here said to me, what was India like? And I'm like, I went and I got picked up at the airport and taken to the hotel where the event was at. I really didn't see India, which I'd regret, and I'd love to come back. But just by the way the flights worked, and obviously SEMrush organised those flights, it wasn't me that was organising them to suit my schedule. They basically had a management company organising the flights and everything. They basically said, you're flying from here to there, that's your flight. So, travelling to India to talk for half an hour or whatever I was given to talk and shake hands with a few guys and leave, that's not great. It's not great fun. So not all of this traveling thing is actually that enjoyable. It's great meeting the people though, but I just really like that. But yeah.
But the travel, the whole process is not right. So right. So you talked about Matthew, who you look when you were starting your agency, and someone who you look to it. But who have been your mentor in the SEO industry, and how have they influenced your career?
I wouldn't say there's one specific person that would be that. I think there's a combination of people. I've got a lot of friends in the industry, James Dooley being one of them. And, he's a guy similar in age to me. He's been doing SEO a long time. Do we help each other? Have I been in his office helping him? Has he been in my office helping me? Has he, have I been able to phone him and ask for, I'm in a shitty situation. How do I get out of this? What do you think of this? What do you think of that? He's one of a number of people. I think trying to base it on any one person would be hugely unfair. And like I say, I've got a good network of friends. In the UK, we probably have maybe 15 to 20 of us in a group chat where we all talk and help each other. That's just the UK. Obviously, we've got other group chats where you've got your Charles Floats and various other established, well-known SEOs. You've got Ryan Stewart in there. There's Kyle Roof, various other guys. And have I been able to learn from a lot of those guys and been able to reach out to them and talk to them and have beers with them and everything else? The answer is yes. So I think selfishly, when we meet these people or when you have their contact details or whatever, if I don't know something that I know Kyle Roof, for example, is really good at, can I approach him and you message him or whatever? Of course I can. And you know, I'd like to think I've maybe helped some of these guys back as well. So I haven't had one particular guy. I've had a lot of the kind of well-known names. You know, I've done masterminds with Diggity and you know, all of these kind of guys as well. Matthew Woodward. There's just too many to mention, but all of the kind of top names you would expect all do go and get involved and participate in these masterminds, and we help each other come out of it. And it's what you take from it, because I'm looking at these guys going, I'm really shit at this. So Diggity, come here. You're really good at that. Tell me more about this. Tell me more about that. So you need to be selfish and pull out of that. And that person might not realise what you're pulling out of them. They might just be generally talking to you and you're like, oh, this is really good shit, writing it all down. So I've been fortunate enough to surround myself with the kind of top dogs in the industry. And I think that's what you've got to aim for. And, you know, when did I last see you? Were you in Dubai? What was the last event I met you at?
I met you in Chiang Mai last.
Oh, Chiang Mai, right? So why would you go to Chiang Mai, right? You know, as you know, I'm talking about a generalist SEO. You've went to Chiang Mai because you've seen a list of A-level players that are going to be there, and you want to go and you want to talk, you want to listen to these guys, you know, and obviously that is what we all have to do, you know, and even, you know, I was speaking at Chiang Mai, but did I speak to people? Did I learn anything? Of course I did. You know, why? I'm not just there to talk shit on a stage. I'm, you know, if I need to talk to a guy about, I don't know, finding VAs or whatever it might be, then I'm going to hijack that person and learn what the hell I need to know. So again, you, Navneet, have invested in yourself to be able to do that. And that is what you have, that, you know, when I go back to saying invest in yourself, you've taken the time to fly to a country and do that and be surrounded by those guys.
Right.
So, so you've done the exact same thing.
So, can you recommend any books or resources that have significantly influenced you in terms of your SEO, digital, or entrepreneurship?
I'm going to be totally honest. I am not a book guy. I, of course, have listened to a lot of podcasts and stuff like that, based on business and entrepreneurship and everything else. And, you know, one guy, if you want a recommendation, is Dan Pena, an American guy who is a trillionaire who stays in Scotland, who talks a lot about business rather than SEO specifically. And I think just his mindset, his approach to things, he's a crazy guy as well, by the way, very crazy. But I think, you know, when I'm listening to guys like that, some of what he says makes perfect sense and stuff like that. So I do listen to a lot of different business people, and it's more podcast though than reading a book. I hate reading books. So
okay. Okay, just final few questions. I'll just take 5 more minutes.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. So which emerging digital platform or technologies do you think have potential to revolutionize digital marketing in future? I'm sure you would say search GPT, but maybe others.
You know, I would love search GTP to come out and challenge Google. You know, I think Google needs competition. They basically got the whole pie and they can do what they like, which I think's dangerous. You know, what else could come out and revolutionize things? It's a very, very hard thing to try and come up with. You know, I think, you know, all I would
fast is very hard too, right?
Yeah, it's just, I think what I do feel happens sometimes is Google is clearly old and struggled to deal with newer technology and to figure things out. And sometimes I see things happen in the SEO space where certain websites win when they shouldn't be winning based on logic. And I'd love for something to be done about that, where it's just a bit more rigid, and whether that be a new search engine or Google updates their servers or whatever the hell the problem is as to why they can't keep up with technology. My understanding of it is Google was built and no one knew how big this was going to get. So it's been built, and then all of this stuff's just laid on top of it and laid on top of it and laid on top of it and laid on top of it, where it's kind of broken, if you like, to some degree. And a complete rebuild is in order to do things properly now, based on technology that was built whenever Google was built. I think the biggest thing here is it's sometimes not a plain. It doesn't seem like a level playing field, if you like, when we are playing. And you're doing your job and you see these kind of little hacks working and stuff. You're like, fuck me, should I go down that route or should I not? And that's the main frustration I have. But again, a new search engine, I think, would certainly help with a lot of that. But I'd also like to see Google refine their own thing, because I think Google's been good overall. I think we can all argue that the updates that they give are a bit sketchy, but I think overall it's been a good platform to work with and stuff like that. But in terms of other stuff, I'd like to see AI imagery being a lot better. I think when we look at AI, some of the images that it populates are just horrible. But again, I genuinely do believe that in 6 months' time or a year's time, we'll be mind blown and you'll be like, fuck, that is amazing. So, I think technology is moving fast, and none of us know what we want or what we can do with it. I think I'm just happy to enjoy playing with it and learning more about it more than anything, and how to utilize it in terms of making money.
Right. So, are there any new projects or ventures you are currently excited about or working on? You can share.
No, the answer is no. I don't have any new projects, and I'll tell you the reason why. For the last few years, I have taken on too many projects, and what happened as a result is none of the projects actually were that successful, because I was spreading myself too thin. So at the turn of this year, I decided to shut down 5 of those projects and not get involved. I was planning to launch a marketplace to buy and sell websites at the beginners level. People that just want to get into affiliate marketing.
Right.
I don't have time to do the day-to-day running of it, and I don't have anyone surrounding me who can do the day-to-day running of it. So of course I could promote it, but I need the processes and I need the person to be able to manage it on a day-to-day basis. So that kind of business fell apart. And there was a couple of other e-com stores and stuff that I was launching, which kind of didn't get that far off the ground. And it's just down to time. I've got 2 big e-com stores that make me a lot of money. I do my consulting, I do my YouTube, I do I've got a link building agency which just specifically services links, which I also run. So I've got that, and is that enough for me to live off? Of course it is. I can lead a very happy life, but I'm not against if the opportunity is right for me. What I've done, or here's the problem I find, Navneet, I have people who want to leverage me because I've got a good following and I can get exposure in sales. I need someone who gives me that opportunity to be good at running the day-to-day running of a business for that to work fairly. A lot of people have the idea, but they also don't want to do the day-to-day running of the business. So they want to leverage my brand, but it leaves that gap on the other side, or lack of investment to pay for that person. And am I going to pay for a person as well as offering the brand? It would be as well being 100% my business if that's the case. So these are the kind of things that I have gotten myself into over the years, and it just doesn't work. There's not enough cash flow to invest into the new business. for it to operate, and I can't push it out there and say it's the best business because we don't have the person to do the stuff. So I think a lot of the opportunities that come towards an SEO person are weighted against us as the SEO. We're the ones that have a certain skill and a certain audience and everything else. And I think other people want to leverage that, but they're not prepared to put their money in. And am I going to put my money in as well as offering all of the value? No, because then what is the other person doing? And that is the basics of a business failure. And I've had a high number of business failures over the years. Not every business goes and makes a lot of money. I've had more failures than I've had successes. And it's just trying to stop that from happening just now. So if I can refine, polish up the businesses that I've got, I don't need anything else. So no, I don't want to do any new projects this year. But if you came to me this year and you had an amazing tool or something, could I promote that? And could you deal with the developer and the management of that tool? 100%. And that would be a kind of match made in heaven, if you like, where I'm leveraging you because you've got a good tool that I could never create because I don't have the skills, and I can use my marketing skills to help you. That is a joint venture or a joint business.
Win-win situation, right?
Yeah, but most of them are never that. That most of the opportunities are, you're really good at this, you can make me a fuck ton of money, and it just doesn't always work that way, because if I get fed up very quickly, if something doesn't make money, I will very quickly switch off and not put as much time and effort into it. So, and I'm sure you're the same as well.
Absolutely. At this juncture of our life or career, we both, it becomes the same thinking. You don't want to just keep on carrying somebody else. You want somebody else to have equal equity, or let's say equal. So my last question, is there an advice or final thought you would like to share with our audience about the future of SEO and digital marketing?
I think the only really thing I can add in terms of the future is I think you have to be open to change. I think, it's clearly changed a lot in the last few years with AI and everything else that comes out, and you still see people fighting it. I think you've got to embrace the technology. You have to learn it. I think a lot of people are illiterate when it comes to AI. They don't know how to put in good prompts. They don't understand, how you can feed AI information either. These are important things. If AI is going to be a thing and it's pulling data from third-party sources on information about me, for example, I need that information to be right or shed me in a positive manner. So I think you've got to try and learn and develop those skills. And we have done a lot of testing and are still doing a lot of testing how we feed my branded data into AI. And again, it still comes down to links and, content about you on third-party websites. But again, we need to understand how we manipulate that stuff, because it is going to be the future. There is no doubt about that in terms of research, in terms of content creation for social media and whatever else. So I think we also need to understand how we get our shit into AI. And again, what is SEO? It's not just determined to Google. Would that mean optimizing to get yourself into AI? If that's what we have to do in 5 years' time in order to rank, because SGE and all that kind of stuff that's potentially going to become bigger, then we need to understand how the fuck we manipulate that to get ourselves in there, and how do we get that to rank. So I think you're going to have to evolve and open your eyes and play and try and test things. You can't just rely on Google, because we're clearly getting shoved further down the list from a Google perspective. No one can argue that fact. So, things like trying to try different options in terms of how we get our data into AI is something I'm currently testing and trying. I don't know the full answer to it yet and stuff like that, but we can obviously use something like Perplexity, which gives you citations of where it's pulling the information from. So it gives us a rough idea. If I place an article saying this there, then Perplexity's pulling it from there. Where is ChatGPT pulling it from? And you know, all of the other potential AIs out there. So again, we need to figure out how we can manipulate all of that.
Right.
So that would be my advice. Learn AI, learn how to manipulate it, and build a personal brand. And
stay invested in SEO or
no? I think it's still a great source of traffic. I'm not ready to say SEO is dead just yet, but I think still a lot of traffic to be had from it. It still converts the best, and I think it's an important part of the overall marketing mix. But yeah, don't get too deep in it. Don't be all out in SEO traffic. I think you're in a dangerous place at that point.
All right, Craig. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you for sharing your incredible insights and experience with us. I'm sure our listeners have learned a lot from you today. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to the Agency Insider Show for more exciting episodes with industry leaders like Craig. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning. Thank you.